The scent of roasted lamb and fresh lilies filled our family's dining room as I sat quietly at the Easter table, watching my mother arrange the silverware with mechanical precision. Each fork, knife, and spoon placed exactly 1 inch from the edge, just as she'd done every holiday for the past 30 years. I was Sarah Mitchell, 34, successful investment banker, and according to my family, the disappointment who refused to settle down properly. Sarah, my mother's voice cut through the silence, sharp as the knives she was placing. Your sister Olivia is bringing her new fiancé today. Try not to make things awkward with your lifestyle choices. I nodded, suppressing a sigh. My lifestyle choices meant prioritizing my career over marriage, choosing to live in the city instead of the suburbs, and worst of all, refusing to conform to their idea of what a proper daughter should be. What they didn't know, what they'd never bothered to ask, was that I'd been the one keeping their perfect suburban dream alive for the past 5 years. Every month, I quietly paid half their mortgage as a guarantor, covered their property taxes, and even funded the renovations they bragged about to their country club friends. Dad walked in, already wearing his disapproving frown. The Hendersons next door just got back from their family vacation. All 3 generations. Their daughter Jessica has 4 kids now. 4. He looked at me pointedly. And here you are, still playing with numbers in that city office of yours. I took a slow sip of water, letting the familiar sting wash over me. The doorbell rang, and suddenly the atmosphere shifted. Olivia had arrived. My younger sister breezed in like a spring commercial come to life. Perfect blonde hair, designer dress, and on her arm, James, the investment banker fiancé who apparently made her life complete. Behind them, our brother Michael, his wife Emma, and their 2 children completed the picture-perfect family portrait. Sarah, Olivia's voice dripped with fake sweetness. Still wearing pantsuits to family gatherings? Some things never change. The next hour passed in a blur of backhanded compliments and pointed remarks. How brave I was to focus on my career. How independent I must feel in my little apartment, which was actually a penthouse I owned outright. How they hoped I'd find someone special before it's too late. Then came the moment that would change everything. We have an announcement. Olivia beamed, clutching James's hand. We're buying the old Victorian on Maple Street. Mom, Dad, we'll be right in the neighborhood. My father's face lit up. The Hendersons' old place. That's wonderful. But isn't it a bit pricey for a starter home? James cleared his throat. Well, actually, we were hoping to discuss that. We need help with the down payment. Just a small loan from the family. I watched as my parents exchanged glances. My mother spoke first. Of course we'll help. Family takes care of family. We can remortgage the house. No. The word left my mouth before I could stop it. Everyone turned to stare at me. Excuse me. My father's voice had that dangerous edge I remembered from childhood. You can't remortgage the house, I said quietly. You're already leveraged to the maximum. The only reason you qualified for the current rate was because I'm your guarantor. The silence that followed was deafening. Then my father's face turned that particular shade of purple I'd learned to fear as a child. You, he sputtered. What do you mean? You're our guarantor? I placed my fork down carefully. 5 years ago, when the housing market crashed, and you were about to lose the house, I stepped in. I've been guaranteeing your mortgage and helping with payments ever since. That's impossible, my mother whispered. The bank manager, Tom, he said it was all sorted out. Yes, I replied. because I sorted it out. I make 6 times what Dad makes in a year. My credit rating and income are what kept this house in the family. The room erupted. Olivia was screaming about her dream home being ruined. Michael was demanding to know why nobody told him. My father's face had gone from purple to white. "You had no right," he hissed. "No right to interfere in our financial affairs. Who do you think you are?" I stood up slowly. "I'm your daughter, the one who's been saving this family from bankruptcy while you all mocked her choices." "Bankruptcy?" My mother's voice rose hysterically. "We are not some charity case. We don't need your money." "Fine." I reached for my phone. "Then you won't mind if I withdraw my guarantee. I'm sure you can manage the payments on your own." "Don't you dare." My father slammed his fist on the table, making the crystal glasses jump. "You ungrateful manipulative. You think because you have money, you can control us?" "No, Dad. I never wanted control. I just wanted your respect." "Respect?" He laughed bitterly. "You want respect? You're dead to us." "Dead?" He stormed to the mantel, grabbed the family photo from last Christmas, and yanked it from its frame. With theatrical fury, he tore it in half and threw it in the trash. "Get out," he roared, "and don't ever come back." I stood up calmly, grabbed my bag, and walked to the door. Behind me, I could hear Olivia sobbing about her ruined future, Michael trying to calm everyone down, and my mother's theatrical wailing. As I reached my car, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. "Hello, this is Sarah Mitchell. I need to speak to someone about removing myself as guarantor from the Mitchell family mortgage." The first text came before I even reached my apartment. "Sarah, please. Let's talk about this." "Mom." Then another. "You can't do this to your family." "Dad." By midnight, my phone was buzzing constantly. Texts, calls, voicemails, all begging me to reconsider. But as I sat in my quiet penthouse, watching the city lights twinkle below, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Because sometimes being dead to your family is better than being alive and invisible. By Monday morning, my phone had 78 missed calls, 156 text messages, and 23 voicemails. I scrolled through them as I sipped my morning coffee in my office on the 47th floor of Manhattan's financial district. "Sarah, please," the bank called. "We need to talk." "Mom, you're destroying this family." "Dad, how could you be so selfish?" "My house deposit." "Olivia, let's be reasonable about this." "Michael." I placed my phone face down on my desk and turned to the window, watching the early morning sun glint off neighboring skyscrapers. My assistant Jessica knocked softly before entering. "The Mitchell family is in the lobby," she said, her expression carefully neutral. "All of them. Your father's causing quite a scene." I closed my eyes briefly. Of course they'd come here. They'd never respected my boundaries before. Why start now? "Security?" I asked. "Standing by. Want me to have them removed?" I considered it for a moment. "No. Send them up. But first, call Thomas Martinez from legal to join us." 10 minutes later, my family burst into my office like a storm. Dad led the charge, his face red, followed by Mom clutching her designer handbag like a shield. Olivia and James hung back, while Michael tried to look diplomatic. "Well," Dad bellowed, gesturing around my corner office, "this is quite the setup you have here. Nice to see our mortgage payments funded such luxury." I didn't flinch. I earned every inch of this office, Dad, just like I earned the money I used to save your house. Multiple times. Save our house? Mom stepped forward. We never needed saving. We were fine until you interfered. Thomas chose that moment to enter, carrying a thick folder. Mrs. Mitchell, I believe these documents would suggest otherwise. Who are you? Dan demanded. Thomas Martinez, legal counsel for Mitchell Financial Group. He began laying documents on my conference table. I have here the complete financial history of your property for the past 5 years, including 3 foreclosure notices, 2 loan defaults, and the subsequent interventions by Sarah that prevented you from losing your home. My mother sank into a chair, her face pale. 3 foreclosure notices? That's impossible. We always paid our bills. No, Mom, I said quietly. I paid your bills. Every time Dad's business struggled. Every time you remodeled the house with money you didn't have. Every time Olivia needed another small loan, I covered it. All of it. But Tom at the bank, Dad stuttered, called me directly. I finished. Because I'm one of the bank's biggest private clients. When you were about to default on your 4th refinancing, he contacted me. I could have let the bank foreclose. Instead, I stepped in, anonymously. Thomas opened another folder. Ms. Mitchell has contributed approximately $847,000 to your household over the past 5 years. This includes mortgage payments, property taxes, home repairs, and various personal loans to family members. Olivia gasped. James looked like he might faint. That's impossible, Dad whispered. I stood and walked to my wall of achievements, awards, recognitions, press clippings they'd never bothered to read. I made junior partner at 28, senior partner at 31. Last year, I was named one of Forbes 40 under 40. My annual bonus alone is more than you've made in the past decade, Dad. Why didn't you tell us? Michael asked quietly. Would it have mattered? I turned to face them. Every time I tried to talk about my work, you changed the subject to Olivia's engagement or your kids. Every achievement was met with, but when are you getting married? Every promotion was overshadowed by someone else's life choices that you approved of more. Mom started to cry, but I couldn't tell if they were real tears or manipulation. We just wanted you to be happy. No, I cut her off. You wanted me to be like you, to live in the suburbs, marry young, have kids, to need you. But I chose differently. I chose to be independent, strong, successful, and you punished me for it at every turn. So this is revenge. Dad's voice rose again. Pulling the rug out from under us because we hurt your feelings? No, Dad. This is boundaries. You declared me dead to you. Dead people don't pay mortgages. Thomas cleared his throat. The bank has already processed Ms. Mitchell's withdrawal as guarantor. Given your financial history, they're requiring immediate review of your loan terms. You'll be receiving official notice this afternoon. But what about my house? Olivia wailed. The down payment is no longer my concern, I said firmly. Neither is the family home, your country club membership, or any other financial obligations you've been hiding from each other. You'll regret this, Dad growled, but his voice shook. Family is everything, Sarah. You're choosing money over blood. No, Dad. You chose your pride over accepting that your daughter succeeded in ways you never imagined. You chose appearance over reality. You chose to throw away my photo rather than face the truth that the daughter you dismissed has been carrying this family for years. Please, Mom tried one last time. We can work this out. We're still your parents. Are we? Michael interrupted suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. Are we really still family after how we treated her? After everything she just showed us? Silence fell over the office. Outside, the city continued its Monday morning rush, unaware of the drama unfolding behind my glass walls. Security will escort you out, I said finally. The bank will be in touch about your options. I suggest you start looking at downsizing alternatives. You can't do this. Dad made one last attempt, but his voice had lost its authority. I already have. I turned back to my desk. Goodbye, Dad. Mom. Everyone. Consider this my final gift to you. The truth. As security led them out, I could hear Olivia's sobs echoing down the hallway, my mother's attempts at manipulation, my father's angry muttering. But for the first time in my adult life, their voices didn't have power over me. Jessica appeared with a fresh cup of coffee. Your 10 a.m. is waiting. And, are you okay? I smiled, genuinely. You know what? I think I finally am. But as I prepared for my next meeting, my phone buzzed with a text from Michael. We need to talk. Alone. There's something you should know. I met Michael at a small cafe 3 blocks from my office the next evening. It was neutral territory, far from both our family home and my corporate world. He was already waiting when I arrived, looking older than his 36 years, turning a coffee cup between his hands. You look well, he said as I sat down. Success suits you. What did you want to tell me, Michael? He sighed, reaching into his briefcase. I found these while cleaning out Dad's home office last night. They were hidden in a false bottom drawer. He slid a stack of old envelopes across the table. My breath caught. I recognized my own handwriting immediately. Letters I'd sent home during my first years in finance. Letters that Mom and Dad had claimed never arrived. There's more, Michael continued, his voice heavy. Dad's been lying about the business for years. It's not just struggling, it's completely underwater. He's been running a shell game, taking loans from one bank to pay another. Your guarantee on the house was the only thing keeping the whole house of cards from collapsing. I opened one of the old letters with trembling hands. Inside was a check I'd sent home 8 years ago, never cashed, and a note describing my first major bonus. I'd been so proud, so eager to share my success with them. Why are you showing me this now? Michael ran a hand through his graying hair. Because I was wrong too. We all were. We watched them tear you down year after year. And we said nothing. I convinced myself it wasn't my business, that staying neutral was the right thing to do. But after yesterday, seeing those documents, understanding what you've done for us all these years, I couldn't stay silent anymore. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mom. Your father's had stress attack. Are you happy now? Michael saw the message. They're at the hospital. It's not serious, just anxiety. But they're using it to rally the family against you. Olivia's already posted on Facebook about how you've destroyed Dad's health with your cruelty. I laughed bitterly. Of course she has. There's something else. Michael hesitated. James, Olivia's fiancé, he's been asking questions at his bank about your role at Mitchell Financial. I think they're looking for something to use against you. They won't find anything, I said calmly. Everything I've done has been legal and documented, unlike Dad's creative accounting. Just then my phone rang, a number I recognized from the bank that held my parents' mortgage. I answered on speaker. Ms. Mitchell? This is Harold from First National. We've completed our review of your parents' loan situation. Given the withdrawal of your guarantee and some concerning findings in their financial records, we're initiating immediate collection proceedings. I wanted to give you advance notice, given your previous involvement. Thank you, Harold. I appreciate the courtesy. After I hung up, Michael stared at me. What happens now? Now, they face reality. The house will go into foreclosure. Dad's business dealings will probably trigger an audit. The country club membership they've been floating on credit will be revoked. Their carefully constructed facade will crumble. And you're okay with that? I touched one of the old letters. They had chances, Michael. So many chances. Every time I reached out, every time I offered help openly, they chose pride over truth. They chose appearance over acceptance. Now they get to live with those choices. My phone buzzed again. An email from Olivia. I hope you're satisfied. You've ruined everything. Mom and Dad gave you life. And this is how you repay them. Michael read it over my shoulder. She still doesn't get it, does she? None of them do. They gave me life, yes. But I built this life. Every promotion, every dollar, every achievement. That was all me. The same me they rejected, mocked, and dismissed. The same me they declared dead when I finally stood up for myself. I gathered the old letters and stood. Thank you for showing me these. At least now I know I wasn't crazy. The letters did arrive. They just didn't want to acknowledge them. What about the family? Michael asked quietly. What family, Michael? The one that threw my photo in the trash. The one that only valued me for my secret financial support. Or the one that's sitting in a hospital right now, plotting how to use Dad's anxiety attack to manipulate me. He nodded slowly. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not just for them, but for my part in it. I should have spoken up sooner. As I walked out of the cafe, my phone lit up with a final text. From Dad. The bank called. Is this what you wanted? To destroy everything we built? To punish us? Fine. You win. But remember this, you'll always be the daughter who betrayed her family. I typed back one last response. No, Dad. I'm the daughter who finally stopped betraying herself. 3 months later, I stood in my office, watching the movers pack up the last of my parents' belongings from their foreclosed home. The bank had sold it at auction, ironically, to a young female executive who reminded me of myself 10 years ago. Olivia had broken off her engagement after James left her for a junior partner at his firm. Michael had moved to Seattle with his family, choosing distance over the daily drama. Mom and Dad had downsized to a small rental, their social standing in shambles. Their financial house of cards finally collapsed. And me. I just closed the biggest deal of my career. My photo was on the cover of Business Weekly, under the headline, Rising Star Reshapes Financial Landscape. The article mentioned nothing about family trauma or personal costs. It focused solely on my professional achievements, exactly as it should. My assistant knocked gently. Your next appointment is here. And there's a letter from your parents' address. I took the envelope but didn't open it. Instead, I placed it in my desk drawer, right next to the torn photo from Easter dinner. Some letters don't need to be read. Some photos don't need to be repaired. Some endings are really beginnings in disguise. Because sometimes, being dead to your family is the only way to finally start living for yourself. The scent of roasted lamb and fresh lilies filled our family's dining room as I sat quietly at the Easter table, watching my mother arrange the silverware with mechanical precision. Each fork, knife, and spoon placed exactly 1 inch from the edge, just as she'd done every holiday for the past 30 years. I was Sarah Mitchell, 34, successful investment banker, and according to my family, the disappointment who refused to settle down properly. Sarah. My mother's voice cut through the silence, sharp as the knives she was placing. Your sister Olivia is bringing her new fiancé today. Try not to make things awkward with your lifestyle choices. I nodded, suppressing a sigh.